Hey, what's up, YouTube? Back home, and I've been watching videos from Hibernia's son, Lamb Dog. The Haas has been making a lot of them, and somebody new. It was Doug Carlton, cool guy. Shame, shame, shame was his last one. At which Hibernia's son replied, and so did Haas. And Lamb Dog started talking about, kind of putting things into perspective a little bit regarding the Republican Party. Now, I'll be straightforward and say I generally vote Republican. I'll vote Republican in this election, and that's not to say I agree with everything they do. Personally, I don't like the Republican Party's focus, much like the Democrat Party does too, on these social issues. I hate it, frankly. I hate it. If we really had the freedom and the country really thought about the freedoms we needed and required, these little social issues would largely get handled on their own in their communities, state level at the most. Anyway, that's not the point. The point of this is if you take the comments of the Haas and you take the comments of Doug Carlton and Hibernia's son, and you really do value the change from one thing into another thing, or even if it's really just the acknowledgement of the constitutional rights, you got to figure out how to do that. I think in Haas's video he mentioned that it's only going to happen through a new constitution or a new change to the government, or so on and so forth. And before we go down the process of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, I like to kind of go back and look at what's happened in the past. Now, I'm just going to read a little bit here, and this is off of Wikipedia. I'll put the link in. And I wanted to get kind of a little more concise way of just spewing what I knew about this political party before I went off and did the thing. So here we go. The American Whigs were modernizers who saw President Andrew Jackson as a dangerous man on horseback, with a reactionary opposition to the forces of social, economic, and moral modernization. Most of the founders of the Whig Party had supported Jeffersonian democracy and the Democratic Republican Party. The Republicans who formed the Whig Party, led by Henry Clay and John Quincy Adams, drew on Jeffersonian tradition, I keep jumping around, sorry about that, of compromise and balanced government, national unity, territorial expansion, and support for a national transport network and domestic manufacturing. Jacksonians looked to Jefferson for opposition to the national bank and internal improvements, and support for egalitarian democracy and state power. Despite the apparent unity of Jefferson's Democratic Republicans from 1800 to 1824, ultimately the American people preferred partisan opposition to popular political agreement. I'm going to let you go read the rest. So the Whig Party is what the Republican Party, it's the precursor to the Republican Party. And they kind of favored some advancement more than anything. I don't like that, they wanted to have a transport network. I'm assuming that meant through a national transport network. So what does that mean? It means government spending, things I don't like. But what happened to the Whigs? They changed. They became the Republican Party. How did that happen? Slavery happened, and the views of slavery is what tore the Whig Party apart. It disappeared in the South and was only revived in the North, at which it was then reformed into the Republican Party of Abraham Lincoln. So, what does that mean? Well, it means that things change. It means that something can happen. Political opinion of things can change. Social opinion can be modified over time. It takes a while, but everything of an organization of a large number of people usually takes a while, unless it's reactionary, right? If it's reactionary, then it happens kind of quick. But if you want to change the course, be the tiller man on a country, it takes a long time to do that. Or it takes a steady beating, like a war rhythm, a battle rhythm as they call it, on a drum, to get closer and closer and closer until you have a lot of people thinking the same way you do. The Tea Party could be viewed as something that is a battle rhythm for a certain group of people, and it's a bit of a schism or a divide within the current Republican Party, right? They view the current Republican Party as the old way of doing things, or the old boys club, so on and so forth. But in reality, that is a group of people that have enough core ideas together, but different. And some would say that the Tea Party is winning more of the hearts and minds of the people, particularly the Republican voters, than anyone else. So what does that mean? Well, it means that maybe we don't need a new constitution. Maybe what the founders of this country thought of when they created this country or this constitution was that it would be more adaptive to the ideas and the cultural shifts that the people go through. Take the Whig Party, for example, and take a lot of things they thought of, the party structure, their issues, so on and so forth. You can go look this up on your own. It might be helpful. I don't know. Maybe breaking yourself out of the current issues of today and what your battle rhythm is might help you see ways of getting more people to your side of thinking than for just going with the extreme all or nothing. Something to think about. Take it easy.